Sarma sir?
Now,
Okay.
now you are getting?
Yes.
You are getting?
Yes, voice is clear. Voice is clear, sir. So
Oh, thank you very much.
I warmly welcome to Professor J.B. Sarma sir. Please, Niro sir, start.
Okay. Good afternoon to
No, no,
all
sir, please wait.
participants.
I told Nirav sir.
Good afternoon, all of you. In our second session of the day, I hope you all had enjoyed your lunch. I hereby welcome all the participants and delegates in our one-week training program on advances in concrete technology and sustainable construction practices. We heartily welcome our expert, respected Professor Jai Prakash Sharma sir. Sir is associate professor in applied mechanics in Government Engineering College, Bharuch, Gujarat. Sir has completed his BE and ME specialized in cold formed light gauge steel structure in SVNIT Surat, Gujarat. Sir is doing excellent PhD work on innovative technique sacrificial anode cathodic protection for protection of steel in RCC's form of corrosion, and recently he will be submitting 2 patents on it. As the beginning of her career, Sir has worked as assistant engineer under UKI Civil Circle for 5 years. Now I request all of you to keep your mic mute. If there are any queries regarding the session, please write in the chat box. Now I warmly welcome Professor Dr. J.B. Sharma sir to continue the session.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening to all participants, to Dr. Parikh, Dr. Khare, Principal GEC Dahod, and all the team who is managing this event that I have observed since last 2 years, last 2 days, that this excellent work is done by Dr. Parikh's team. I would like to say something about Government Engineering College Dahod. I was the first faculty who was assigned the work to establish Government Engineering College Dahod, and the development of GEC Dahod is really overwhelming me. And today, at this occasion, when I have been invited to give my talk on this subject, it is again a very, very pleasurous moment for me. Now, to start with, I will share this presentation. The whole presentation is based on the evaluation of different corrosion prevention techniques in RCC. Now, this is the session. It is just like that. After enjoying a party with a variety of sweets, which I'll say that Dr. Parikh has given in last 7 sessions, I am giving some salted and some chili input in that event. Now, in all presentation, you have seen that there are different varieties of good concrete, variety of concrete which can be used for the best construction practices, but still I have some doubt, and probably you might be having some. Hello, my voice is there?
Yes, sir. Can you show your full presentation?
Yes, just
full screen presentation.
Yes. Now it is okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So after so much knowledge about the different variety of good concrete, we still facing some we still face some problems in real practice. What is happening that the general thinking and well established truth is that the raw material used for production of cements are natural materials that are oxides of calcium carbonate and silica. So we are assuming that whatever is made by these natural materials will have a long life, as in nature other things are having. So our assumption is that today's modern cement will have a useful life of more than 100 years, since this is made from the natural raw materials, that is calcium carbonate and silica. Similarly, we also assume that the steel will have a useful life much more than concrete, and the life of reinforced cement concrete will be more than 100 years, since this is combination of the two material which have more than 100 years life. But what is the bitter truth, or I'll say that the truth you have to accept? With the advancement in technology in cement and steel, we became more and more confident that any structure made of reinforced cement concrete will have a lifespan of more than 100 years. This we are assuming, this we are teaching, and in majority of cases, in case of the structure which are very costly, utmost care is taken, and then this is true. But what about the other structures which common public is making from their hard-earned money or purchasing from their hard-earned money? That is not there. The 100 years life is not there. What is happening? There is some natural process which is going to happen. It is beyond our control. Just like tsunami we cannot control, earthquake we cannot control. Similarly, there are some laws of nature, we cannot control that. And what is happening in real, that in the race of development we forgot the law of conservation of energy, which is responsible for changing one form of material to another form. The cycle may be few hours to 1,000 years. In case of buildings, we can say that few years to 100 years. Now, what is contradiction against the earlier 7 sessions which you listened patiently? The recent failures of reinforced concrete structures have indicated that if the RCC structures are not properly designed with respect to the environment condition, or if good materials and proper construction practices are not adopted, which we are discussing a lot since last 7 sessions, and suppose these two are followed, then proper and timely maintenance is not done, then the deteriorated structures will have no solutions but only demolition due to corrosion of steel. Some of the structural engineers justify this, that demolition is necessary because previously the structures were built with the requirement of that time. Now our requirements have changed, so let us demolish that, go for a new one. In few cases this can be justified, but not for all cases, where I will discuss the cases that are not advisable for demolition, and if it is not demolished in time, may collapse on some day. And collapse is not a simple word just we are using in a sense that okay, let us forget these things. No, recently in Maharashtra, also in Raigad, you have heard in news that a building collapsed, onward 15 to 16 people died in that. This was complete collapse. Similar cases here. This is the reality which we are supposed to accept and do the remedial measures that this thing should not happen. It is not only loss of the property, national loss about the, I'll say that, revenue earned by people or government. It is the loss of life also. And why? If we are talking about that we are so advanced that we can have a different concretes of very high strength, high workability, durable, every property we have discussed. If that is there, then why this is happening? The reality, there are two cases. One is from Surat, another is from Baroda. Now, just a minute. This is the case of Surat. Here also loss of life was there in Baroda. In this case, this is the picture showing the drawing room portion. 3 floors completely. Drawing room of 3 floors collapsed around about 8 a.m. The second figure is showing that these 3-4 blocks which you are seeing here, 2 blocks of that complex collapsed in early hours in the morning. In both the cases, loss of life was there, loss of property. You can see this Kanhaiya Palace building is demolished. Now, what is these 2 cases? See, these are only 2 cases out of thousands in last 4 to 5 decades. The reason I will explain later on. The first image I have shown, that was Kanhaiya Palace apartment built in 1994 only. In the slabs of drawing rooms of 3 floors collapsed on 2nd May and 3 persons lost their life. See, complete one building is rejected and 3 lives were lost. Now, yes, Surat Municipal Corporation appointed one committee of experts of structural engineers. They gave their report that poor maintenance is the cause of this failure, leading to corrosion. There was some concept given, some points were also given that the initial construction was not very good. The second image, as I have said, that it is collapse of 2 buildings built by Vadodara Urban Development Authority, WUDA. In every city beyond municipal corporation limit, there is some area defined by the authorities that is known as Urban Development Authority, and they construct the houses for lower middle class or lower class or against the removal of slums. So in that case also some economical housing is concept is there, and in that, in the name of economy, the poor material, poor construction, and that things happen. In that also corrosion was the major cause. So the reason is that after knowing all these technologies and development about the materials and construction practices, why this is happening, that so many number of collapses are heard in the news, in which loss of property and loss of life both are there. Then what is corrosion? This is the basic concept. I have started from basic so that it is useful to the persons who are not directly related to these things. They can understand that. It is nothing, it is the chemical or electrochemical reaction between a material and its environment. There can be any type of environment, there can be any type of material that causes deterioration of the material and its properties. In RCC structures, the corrosion in both concrete and steel occurs. This is sure. In case of concrete, there may be carbonation, there may be other reactions also. But corrosion of concrete is very slow compared to corrosion of steel. The corrosion of concrete gives early warning by its appearance. As you know that you have seen the surfaces in the previous slides, that sand is visible. You find that no, the cement part is not there. It appears like that. So it gives early warning. But in case of steel, it is observed only after it affects the surrounding concrete in the form of cracks. At later stage, you come to know that when the volume expansion of the steel is there due to corrosive product, at that time you come to know that okay, now there is some problem. Now, why there is need of corrosion protection of steel in RCC buildings? See, I have given there's the need of corrosion protection of steel in RCC buildings. Why I have used this word RCC buildings? The reason is that for bridges or any government or organization structures, there is provision, they have money, they can go for any type of protection method because authority is there and then agencies are there. But in case of buildings, multiple ownership is there always. So obviously what is happening here, that is studied and then some remedy is to be found out. What is expected life of concrete? As we have assumed that it is more than 100 years. Always we talk about this expected life of steel if protected. It is also more than 100 years. We have one bridge at Narmada. It is had completed 125 years. Steel bridge. Many bridges are there in the world which have crossed 100 years. So there is no doubt about the life of steel. What is happening? The real life of RCC structures, especially buildings, we are finding that it is 20 to 80 years only. There are several reasons. I am not going deep into that. One of the reasons is that we are adopting construction practices. We devise some method. Less qualified people, contractor, they are using that technology without, I'll say, precaution. For example, previously we had 33 grade cement, then 43, then 53. In some years we'll get 63 also. The heat of hydration of 53 grade cement is much more compared to 33. That much care is not taken at the time of curing. Only contractors or other persons think that this is high strength cement. If I use less, I will get economy. So they understand only economy, and we know that in a scientific method that cement is very good, but it requires proper care during construction, and I will say that proper construction practices is to be adopted when you are using specific material. Then only the combination of both material and practices, we will get maximum benefit. The major cause is corrosion of steel bars and progressive cracking in structural elements. See, corrosion of concrete is very slow process, and that you can bend. Hello? 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 Is there any problem in voice? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay. The major cause is corrosion of steel bars and progressive cracking structural elements. Another is design deficiencies and poor construction along with corrosion leads to failure. Now here, we nowadays see everything is available, then the problem is that where we are lacking that such type of failures are occurring. We have got best design softwares, we have got best construction equipments, materials we can check, number of laboratories we have, then also corrosion is there that leads to failure. So obviously there is urgent need of a system to protect the steel from further corrosion for existing buildings or structures. Now see here the word existing buildings is there because for structures we have already other alternatives and it is tested, it is in practice. But in case of buildings, what the technology I am going to tell, that is not in practice. Now what type of system should be there? The system shall be external because already buildings are existing, easy to install, easy to repair, simple in monitoring, because without monitoring you cannot say that the building is under protection of certain technology. Reliable and cost effective. Obviously everything depends upon cost. If it is not cost effective, then these technologies will be on paper only. So first let us understand that what is mechanism behind this corrosion, and on that basis the technology will be better understood. See, the corrosion process in RCC is electrochemical in nature. The process is very similar to a battery. Everybody has seen the cell, single cell. what is happening? Outer side is zinc body, inner side, in the center, one carbon rod is there, and in between these two electrolyte is there, and at the top plastic body is there to separate that. Means whatever currents will flow, that will flow through that electrolyte. Sometimes previously, if someone can remember that, in the torch or some radio or some, I'll say, equipment, the batteries were leaking. Later on, the technology improved and we got cells like that. There is no leakage in that. And the corrosion is nothing. It is the result due to flow of electrons between cathodic and anodic sides of rebar. Suppose one reinforcement is there, on that the side develops, and then one place or one spot behaves like anode, one spot behaves like cathode, and then current flow starts. Four basic elements are required for corrosion to occur. One is anode, cathode, electrolyte, and metallic path. These four elements are required for corrosion. If we can control these four, then there is no corrosion. But how it is not possible, that I'll explain later on. See, what is their anode and cathode formation is steel embedded in concrete. For corrosion to occur, an electrochemical cell must be established. Means these four elements are there, earlier explained. The anode is the area where oxidation occurs and electrons are released. Means whatever metal is there that is in stable condition, then it's okay. But suppose it is disintegrated into ions, plus or minus, from there the electrochemical cell is established. The cathode is the area where reduction takes place or electrons are consumed. This is theoretical part. Later on, in pictorial view, you will be able to understand. Steel in RCC acts as only cathode when it is in passive state. Means initially you find that there is no corrosion. The reason is that the pH of concrete, fresh concrete, at initial stage, it is more than 12 always. Later on, it goes on reducing due to carbonation or any other factors or any other material property which has been mixed together, and the pH reduces to 9.5. Lesser than that, when pH is less than 9.5, there are chances of corrosion. That's why you initially find that there is no cracks, there is no corrosion, means no cracks are there, means no corrosion is there. After 4 or 5 years in the buildings, you observe that there is some crack in beams, slabs or columns. Especially you will see below the bottom of washrooms. And when this passively is lost by reduction in the pH of concrete due to carbonation or by local breakdown or due to chloride ions, part of steel acts as anode and corrosion process starts. Now see, here it is better explained. The iron that disintegrates into plus ion and electrons are released. These electrons, these two things are required. One is that moisture and oxygen. If any one is missing, so corrosion will not occur. For example, at many times you know that in saline water, certain structures at seashores are there. So corrosion is at the level of or at the height where the fluctuation of water takes place. Means wetting drying process takes place, means it gets oxygen also and moisture also. So at the cathode, what happens? These electrons combine with moisture and oxygen and forms hydroxyl ion, that is OH minus ions. Now, if you see this figure, here at this spot, the iron, that is Fe, is disintegrated into plus ions and electrons are released. Now these electrons travel through the concrete, or in case if concrete is having more resistance, so they will travel through steel, and wherever this oxygen moisture is available, they will combine and hydroxyl ion is formed. That hydroxyl ions combine with this Fe2 plus ions and ferrous hydroxide is formed. That is the first stage of the corrosion. And then later on again with the combination of this at seventh stage, you see the ferric hydroxide, and that is the final form of corrosion and it is known as rust. So two things are clear, that electrons are released when pH is lost below 9.5 or it comes down less than 9.5, and these electrons combine with moisture and oxygen and hydroxyl ions are formed. These again combine with the plus iron ions and then corrosion starts. So here one is that either you control these things, then it is possible. Okay, so there are certain methods to control this or block this entry of oxygen and moisture both. This is also one of the method of corrosion protection. You can block these two elements to enter into the concrete, and so that they do not reach on the surface of steel. Now there are certain methods which are already there in practice. One is metallurgical method, that is you have the content of steel such that it is not allowing or it is delaying the corrosion process. Both the things are there. Then coating to reinforcement, this is very, very common, as you know. Then corrosion inhibitors, these are chemicals, these are nitrites and other chemicals which are added to the concrete to minimize the corrosion. Then coating to concrete, cathodic protection, design and detailing, realkalization of concrete. Then the question is that if so many methods are available, then why corrosion is there? Why we are allowing corrosion to happen in RCC structures and ultimately collapse? We are lacking somewhere, and I have tried to find out one solution to that. That we will discuss later. If you see the methods for corrosion protection, one is metallurgical methods. In that one is CRS, corrosion resistant steel. It is made by Tata, SAIL, Jindal, many other companies. This was introduced in roundabout, I think, 1995. This has a property that you will find that there is some corrosion, but no, it forms a film on the surface of the steel bar that is nearly, I'll say that orange color, not I'll say that dark red just like rust is there, no, similarly to orange color, and that film delays the corrosion. Please remember, delays the corrosion. You cannot say that this is the 100% corrosion resistant. Okay, and there is no loss of corrosion resistance during transportation, bending and compaction. So this is a very good thing. In Surat, I have seen that one structure was built in 96 or 7, and then till today I have not seen that there is any crack or all that. That is steel. I tested also, so I know that no, this is good thing. This is little costly, lifetime unproven. The reason is that it delays the corrosion. Okay, so lifetime nobody can predict without a testing upon a number of years. It is difficult to have a such test that you are testing for this 40-50 years. Then stainless steel, as you know, this is really costly, expensive option, lifetime unproven. You can say 75 to 100 years. But the question is that whether we can afford that. And second thing, the carbon content present in this stainless steel and chromium, they may not give that much expansion. So for flexural members, this is not suitable. So that's why this is not common. You people have come across so many types of construction, but still you are saying that stainless steel, it is not common. CRS is common, but in general, whenever some contract is there, if it is not mentioned that you have to go for CRS, no contractor, no agency is going to use that, however big they are. There may be a contract of, I'll say that 100 crores, 200 crores, 300, but the tender condition is very, very important. In that building, what I discussed in Surat, in that it was in the contract. Then corrosion inhibitors. The method delays the corrosion. Okay, these are the chemicals added at the time of making concrete, so it delays the corrosion. In some cases, adverse effect is also there, but still it is a better option. Then coating to reinforcement, very, very common. You have seen everywhere. The most popular is epoxy coating, but you have seen this light green color epoxy. If you see that, you can understand that this can be damaged. Okay, so likely to be damaged during handling. There are chances. Coating disbonding appears in 15 years. This is by a study that within 15 years, disbonding of that coating appears, and obviously you are now inviting the corrosion in this case. So nowadays, many of the government departments have discontinued this since last 8 to 10 years. They are not demanding that go for epoxy coating. The process is so complicated that contractor purchases that, or agency purchases this steel, sent it to directly to the company for epoxy coating. From there it is transported to site, and there the process of bending etc. takes place. Handling is there. If proper handling is not there, so obviously it is more dangerous, because here it is clear cut that you are the formation of anode and cathode is there. Once layer is removed, that becomes anode, another part becomes cathode. So that's why officially this is discontinued. Nowadays they are not using. Then cement slurry coating, this process is there. I have seen this process at Mandovi Bridge in Goa. This process is there at that time. UP Bridge Corporation was making that bridge. The process is here also, this is complicated. You have to shape the bar as required in the structure, then dip then in mild acid, again wash with distilled water, and then at last you have to dip in cement slurry, and then with the clutches you pick up that and put on some hangers, and later on it is transported to the structure. You can understand that so much heavy bars, if they are handled for putting into the formwork in the bridge, what will happen. But this process was adopted because at that time this technology was there. I'm talking about 1988. So other epoxy and other technologies were not there. So this cement slurry coating was used. Today nobody is using this method because this is, I'll say that labor oriented and not, I'll say that the life, you can say that it is guaranteed that you can, it is corrosion resistant process is achieved. Then a stainless steel coating. This is also one of the metallurgical process that on this steel only stainless steel coating is done by electroplating. Here also the coating may get damaged during bending. Cracks will be formed because compared to the mild steel or Fe415 or other steels, the stainless coating will be brittle one. So here also it is expected that life will be 40 years like that. Then zinc coating, this is common, this is fruitful. For here coating may get damaged during bending, but still is popular. If you have seen the transmission towers used for transmission of electricity, these all are well designed truss members. It is assembled once and then multiple copies of that are made for all members. Then they are dipped in the zinc solution, and by electroplating, whatever thickness is mentioned, that much thickness in micron is achieved, and these are transported and then assembled. But first design is to be made, and then accordingly this multiplication of members are done. and zinc coating. This is useful really. Second thing, you have seen that GI sheets used for roofing, that is also nothing, it is zinc coating. Metacolor sheets are also there nowadays, but zinc, that are zinc coated, which you see in the form of shining corrugated sheets. So this is also suitable. Life is plus 5 years, or you can say up to 10 years, because you have seen anywhere in the roof, if you have seen that some spots of red are there, initial shining goes on decreasing and decreasing, and later on you see that rusted corrugated sheets are there. But this is also effective method. Then coating to concrete, which I said that if you do not allow moisture and oxygen to enter into the concrete, and if it does not reach it to the surface of steel, corrosion will not occur. So one reason is that porosity of concrete is responsible. Another is that if you are making a barrier on the concrete surface, so probably this aim is achieved. This provides good resistance when concrete is dense. Cost is compensated on aesthetic ground. Conflicting data about life is there. Means how much life is increased depends upon obviously the quality of concrete, and nobody is ready to say that quality of concrete is poor. Everybody says it is good. Whatever authorities are there, they will say that no, concrete is good. Any other reason is there. They are not going to accept that concrete is of poor quality. But nowadays all bridges and flyovers are coated. If you see the dull greenish color, it is nothing. It is the coating given on concrete surface. They can be water based or polymer based. So that protects the concrete, and this barrier does not allow oxygen and moisture to enter. So obviously it is protecting. It is one type of protection from corrosion. And this is very, very good phenomenon. I'll say that aesthetic view is also achieved. And once that film is broken, you can see from the outside that, okay, now it is in the worst condition, we can go for another coating. Then one method is design and detailing, because whenever the proper cover is not provided, it is the moisture and oxygen are going to enter easily into the concrete, and it will reach as early to the steel surface. So in the design and detailing, what we are doing, we are providing adequate cover and spacing of reinforcement. This we can say it is most economical and durable if proper design and construction practices followed. The reason is that while designing the things, we have nothing to do, just mention that this much cover is to be provided, and if the construction agency provides that much cover, so obviously we are sure that this cover I have provided, that will not allow very easy way for the oxygen and moisture to enter. But there are some problems in design and detailing. People are more confident about their design, or at other stage, at the time of construction, whatever is given in design, that is not followed. There may be vice versa. Then another method is cathodic protection. Here there are two types of methods. One is internal cathodic protection in the form of ribbon. We are providing anodes inside the concrete. Another is external, means outside the concrete. So one thing is clear, that inside the concrete, if you are providing any anode, that is to be provided in advance or at the time of repairing. In case of external, whatever structure is existing, we are supposed to protect that in the form of external cathodic protection, and means anode is provided externally. So here it is just like remedy, that we are providing anode that takes care of that building. It is just like I'll say that indirect insurance. It just protects the buildings and the life is unlimited as long as that anode is available and it is connected to reinforcement. This is the basic phenomena. Anode is connected to reinforcement and the anode material is available. Another is realkalization of concrete. Here, suppose pH value falls below 9.5. We are increasing the pH of the concrete. Here we are providing external current to the carbonized region of concrete to increase the pH at satisfactory level, means above 9.5. The process is not very common. It is applied to carbon concrete. Cost is high, but life is unpredictable. The reason is that once you increase the pH, for how much time it will remain above 9.5, it is a question, because again environment is same, everything is same. So here life is unpredictable. And second thing, this is very specific technology. You cannot make the people confident that okay, you have adopted this process and now the corrosion will not happen. This is one of the drawbacks. Many other methods are there, but these were major methods which needs comparison among all these. So I have compiled that. Other I have removed from here. Now see, this slide is less visible, but I'll say that metallurgical methods are there. Corrosion inhibitors. The cost and life is compared here. Durability during construction, cost and life, whether it's external or internal, manufactured or applied during or after construction. See, metallurgical method is that it is internal, means you have to make a steel which is CRS, or you are making a steel which is stainless steel. It is manufactured, okay? You cannot apply during construction or after construction. It is manufactured. Durability, obviously it is more durable. In case of stainless steel and CRS, there is no loss of corrosion resistance during transportation or during construction practices. Obviously it is costly. Then corrosion inhibitors, these are internal, okay? These are internal. These are used during construction at site. Okay, during construction at site. Highly variable cost methods delays the corrosion. Variable cost is there. Then coating to reinforcement, epoxy coating processed in advance in manufacturing plants. Coatings are likely to be damaged during handling. Very sensitive to handling. Cement slurry I already have explained. Stainless steel coating the same, okay? Life is a problem. Then coating to concrete, this is best method nowadays. It is practical method, I'll say. Cost is there, but cost is compensated on ground of aesthetic appearance. Design and detailing, most economical. Electrochemical realkalization, it is internal, it is after construction, and this is also electrochemical method. Cathodic protection, internal as well as external. During construction it can be done or after construction. Initial cost is high. Please mark this, initial cost is high, but life is unlimited. I'll say that life is unlimited. Now, what is the history of cathodic protection? See, this is 2020, okay? About 200 years. In 1820, Sir Humphrey Davy used cathodic protection naval ships. Royal Navy requested him to look after the corrosion in ships. Okay, so he devised this method for the naval ships. It was applied and the success starts from there. Then Michael Faraday discovered relation between corrosion, weight loss and current. Means how much current is flowing and how much loss is there. Their relation he developed. And this is, we are not studying that, metallurgy students study this. Then in 1890, Thomas Edison experimented ICCP in ships but not successful. What was the problem? I will show in next slides that a lot of material, that is anode material, is consumed. So he thought that why not I shall use current in place of the current developed between two dissimilar metals. I will provide current from outside. So probably that economy will be there, but in ships it was not successful. In other cases later on it is successful. Okay. Now the modern technology starts from here, from 1930. In US, what was happening? You know that pipelines transporting oils and gases, they are from, I'll say that 1,000 to 1,000 kilometers. Imagine that only one point is corroded. What will happen about the quantity of oil or gas? Danger towards that, environmental problems and monetary loss. And when it is blocked for repairing, the loss is beyond imagination. So their CP was used to protect that. What methods are adopted, I'll explain that later on. Then 1959, Stratfall. He is the pioneer for this cathodic protection in bridges. More than 100 bridges at that time were repaired and then CP was installed in that. In 73, CP system was used for enhancing life of bridges in US again. From there, 1959 started, and then again the same person recommended for enhancing the life of bridges in US, and CP system was installed. In these times, means from 59 to 82, you can say 1980, Federal Highway Administration, they surveyed the bridges and this repairing was still going on, and they announced that now this is the method which can protect or which can stop corrosion in case of highway structures. They made a statement. In 84, in UK, CP was applied to highway structures, and then later on after 84, round about 99, it was used in buildings also, but very less numbers. And then it is very common for pipelines, bridges, but not common for buildings. Okay, so after 200 years still I can say, you can also judge that how many buildings you have seen that where CP is installed. Probably 50% of the participants have not seen that anywhere in the building it is installed. See, this was the basic concept started from the ships. These white colors are very large bars, or I'll say that blocks. These are made of zinc. These are attached to the bottom of the ship, spaced by some special inert material. You can say that washers and all that, so that electrical connectivity is not there with the body of the ship. So here anode is there, cathode is the ship, and electrolyte is there. Okay, electrolyte is the saline water of the sea. So that completes the circuit. Then these are the underground tanks used for oil and gas storage in industries, and whatever you see in the bags, that is nothing, it is the anode. It is anode, and this is buried in soil, so it is electrically connected to the tank, and rest of the circuit is through the soil. One part is electrically connected, other is terminal is through the soil. So complete circuit is there. Whatever electrons are released, that are consumed by anode. Okay. Here also, this is for jetty. Bars are there, mostly zinc bars. They are installed on the periphery of the columns with some special electrically insulator material, and then saline water acts as electrolyte, anode and cathode formation is there. Here is the case for pipeline. Okay. In this pipeline, what happens? One terminal is attached, and then with that terminal, anodes are attached. And these anodes which you are seeing, they are with backfill. They are with backfill, and then it is filled with soil. So moisture available in soil provides electrical conduit for flow of the electrons. So whatever electrons are released by the iron pipe or steel pipe, that move through this closed circuit and they are consumed by the anode. How this anode consumes, that is also one phenomena. So this was the official Federal Highway Administration policy statement that cathodic protection is the only rehabilitation technique that has proven to stop corrosion in salt contaminated bridge decks regardless of the chloride content in the concrete. This was the only rehabilitation technique. No other technique was there successful. Then in ISO 12696 also, it mentions that cathodic protection of steel in concrete is a technique that has been demonstrated to be successful in appropriate applications in providing cost-effective long-term corrosion control for steel in concrete. Now you can imagine that these documents say that this is the only rehabilitation technique. Even BS 7361, which is compared to our IS code, here details are too much. It is very good IS code. BS cathodic, this also mentions cathodic protection is a means, possibly the only means, of indefinitely extending the life of reinforced concrete structures which are suffering reinforcing steel corrosion arising from chloride intrusion. Now, these three documents I have put here, they say that cathodic protection is a means, and somewhere they say it is only means. Now, from where this has started propagating, see, international approvals of cathodic protection of RCC structures is from these documents. One is that FHAWA document 1982, UK Concrete Society 1989, NACE, National Association of Corrosion Engineers. This was started, this association was started by 9 mechanical engineers, and now it is a very big organization and it is an authority for corrosion protection technology. So these are documents RP0290 and RP0390, American Concrete Institute 222R01 document. Many documents are there, I have mentioned here, then BS and then EA. These are the documents which certify, which gives procedure, which give all the details. Only thing that after so much details, why it is not common for buildings. Okay, this is common for pipeline, there is no problem, but it is not common. Then another question is there that whether you can apply these cathodic protection system to new structures initially from the beginning. Okay, so for that these documents say that it is uncommon to find the use of cathodic protection justified for a new structure at the design stage if alternate economical means are available to prevent corrosion. Now please listen, alternate economical means whatever we have discussed earlier. If compared to CP, other one is economical. Suppose you are using CRS steel, so that is economical, so it is better to go for that, not go for cathodic protection. This is the meaning of that. Or if you are using corrosion inhibitors, it is chemical, if it is mixed to the concrete, and if it is providing good resistance to corrosion, long life to a structure, so it is shall be used for that. So this is the meaning of this statement. However, if a decision is taken at the design stage to apply cathodic protection to a new structure, provisions can be made during construction to facilitate the later application of CP. Now see, if certain provisions are made in the new structure for future, that if something happens, we can go for cathodic protection. So authority has to take decision about that whether this is required to make initial provision in the structure. So in that case, it can be done. And if it is done, then what will happen? Whatever a cost is there, which we are following nowadays for cathodic protection, so that will significantly reduce, and that will simplify the effective current distribution, monitoring and control. Now, what is there that initial provision? For example, if I say that for a multi-story building, I have to go for CP, cathodic protection in future, if something happens. Because see, technology is known to designers, technology is known to owners. Okay, everybody is knowing that. So whether we can make a small provision in that, and if that is there, so probably that becomes economical. Because initially, if you find that, okay, crack is there, okay, you understand that now the corrosion has started, something is to be done, and if provision is made, so obviously that is economical. So what type of provision is possible? One is that we need that exposed steel, or the steel covered which can be exposed later on to connect the anodes. So that becomes one type of economy, and this provision will be very, very useful for economy as well as aesthetic view also, and proper connectivity of a node if this is possible. So once we decide that, okay, now we need some provision for later on CP or cathodic protection, so that provision can be made. Now there are two systems. This is the broad classification. One is impressed current cathodic protection system. What is that? Here we are providing anode as well as we are providing current. Whatever current is developing between those two dissimilar metals, we are using that also, plus we are providing current from outside. So what is there? The large driving force available can protect a large, even uncoated structure in high resistivity environments. For example, suppose pipeline is there, it is suppose 1000 kilometer. You just imagine that how many anodes are required throughout the length. Okay, and suppose the life of anode is 3 years. So again, at the time of replacement, a new anode is to be installed. So that is costly process. So for that, impressed current CP system is most stable. And obviously only few anodes are required. Second thing, wherever the potential difference is not developed or very less, which is not able to effectively protect the steel from corrosion, because see, potential difference is required for flow of current. So here artificial voltage can be improved. Okay, that you can increase the voltage. Generally it is working as 24 volt, so you can go for higher one. There are certain disadvantages also. Suppose underground cable 24 volt is traveling, near to that some high tension tower is there, so stray currents, or some buildings are there, some electrical cables are there, so that happens. So that's why this is very specific technology. Now in case of sacrificial anode cathodic protection system, we are providing one anode that will get corroded and you have to replace that. It is simple to install, independent of any source of electric power. Suitable for localized protection, means small pieces or one building is there, then it's okay. Less liable to cause interaction on neighboring structures. Now what is happening in case of impressed current cathodic protection? You can imagine that the CP stations are just like a small substation of electricity board. Okay, from there the lines goes, their control system is there, data logger system is there, everything. From there the cables go parallel to the pipeline, and if pipeline is 1000-2000 kilometers, you can imagine that what is there. Okay, how much complex situation will be there. So it is just like a small substation. Okay, I have seen that, so I can say that, okay, no, that is not so simple. But see, oil industry is so rich that, or I'll say that it is so vulnerable to corrosion that protection is must. They are supposed to spend any amount which is required for that. So they go for impressed current cathodic protection system, because SACP is not a simple method for them. Now how this works? See, there is one term, galvanic corrosion. This is metallurgical term. Galvanic or two metal corrosion. When two metals are there, different metals which have its own electro potential, so that allows flow of electrons between these two. Okay, only thing that the flow of electrons is possible then when conductive solution is there. So the corrosion takes place when two metals are immersed in a conductive solution or environment, means two different metals. The potential difference facilitates electron flow between these two metals. The less resistant metal becomes anode and the more resistant metals become cathode. What is less resistant? It will come in next slide. Due to flow of electrons and involvement of two dissimilar metals, this type of corrosion is called galvanic corrosion or two metal corrosion. The driving force for current and corrosion is the potential difference developed between two metals, and this is the inherent quality of metal. Okay. Now here is the relative position of few metals in galvanic series. Cathodic is the platinum, gold, silver, nickel. This is the grading towards anodic. So why the platinum is costly? Now you can understand. There is no effect of environment. I'll say the zero effect of environment on this metal. So that's why it is costly. Second number is gold. This is stable metal. Okay, this is stable metal. So obviously this iron shining and metal. Okay, these two things are there. That's why this gold is costly. Then lower silver, then nickel, then brass, then tin, lead, stainless steel, cast iron, steel, aluminum, zinc and magnesium. So any combination of these two metals, suppose I say that is steel and aluminum, or steel and zinc, steel and magnesium, or stainless steel and zinc, these two combination have different equipotential value in EMF series. So this is the standard values of EMF. This standard electrode potential. So what is there? If you see from the top, it is plus 1.4, 1.2. This is given in decreasing order. Then for iron, it is 0.771. Please see. Okay, this is ferric iron. Then here at the lower end, if you see that this one, this is minus 0.44. Okay, and Cu copper, it is 0.34. Then zinc minus 0.763. This is the standard electrode position. If you join these two metals and in between that externally you join and dip these two metals in electrolyte, so electrons will start flowing and that electrons will convert the anode material into oxide of that material and a current is generated. The same thing is happening to our steel also in RCC. So what is happening here, that this steel that is having a standard electrode position 0.44, this is converted when anode and cathode formation is there. So obviously Fe2 plus ion, if you see this value, this one 0.7, this 0.7 plus 0.7, sorry, plus 0.771 and minus 0.44. When it is metal, it is here, it is converted to anode and here it is cathode. Okay, so current starts flowing between that and the decay of material is there or oxidation of metal is there. That is our steel. So here what we are doing, we are providing a metal which is less noble. We are attaching that to steel and that forms a circuit which allows the flow of electrons and oxidation of the active metal takes place. Active means compared to steel, magnesium, zinc, these are active metals. So this phenomena is used. This is from metallurgy. Okay. What will be there? We are providing one sacrificial anode, means a piece of zinc or magnesium. We take out a wire outside. Whatever is concrete is there. That acts as electrolyte. Reinforcing steel is there. We attach a data logger when we study that what is happening, how much current is flowing, what potential is maintained. Okay. This is the schematic diagram for monitoring of this CP system. Now this is the actual anode used for pipeline. I have seen this in IOC project, Indian Oil Corporation in Chhattisgarh. Here if you see that potential difference with copper half cell is there. Okay, this 1.127. Okay, from where it comes, if you see this previous table, copper is 0.3440 and then steel is 0.44. Okay, this combination is there. Okay, sorry, zinc that 0.763 and this 0.34. So difference will be that approximately, that depends upon metal quality, impurity and purity also. Okay, so what is done? This anode is buried in soil near the pipeline and the top wire is connected to the with the nuts and bolts to the pipeline, and it is surrounded by backfill material which is bentonite and gypsum, which provides longer stay of moisture so that electricity circuit is complete, and generally distance is 3 to 5 meters. So when pipeline project starts, they keep it in segments, suppose 400 to 700 meters, and then they do not join that. So it is one piece of metal, that is iron or steel, and then this is another node, they are connected together. Later on, when complete pipeline is laid down, they start connecting and then they switch over to ICCP, and whatever cables are laid, that provides to current to the pipeline, and the current is direction of terminal is such that it attracts electrons and consumes. So our electricity is consumed, but pipeline is protected. Here also, if you see that this is the potential difference between installed zinc anodes and copper half cell. These type of junction box are installed generally at, I'll say they try that it should not be more than 1 kilometer because the wiring is costly, but it is generally near to the roads for inspection. So every day or weekly, whenever they move from there, they open this, a number of terminals are there. So they can detach that, they can take the potential difference of anode only, they can take potential difference of pipeline only, they can take potential difference of connected circuit. Every feasibility is there. Here if you see that the bottom figure, it is 0.746. It is the potential difference between pipeline and copper half cell. So if you see the difference between plus 0.4 and minus 0.37, nearly it is 0.746. So these type of junction box are always there along the pipeline, preferably near the roads or inspection roads, so that they can inspect that what is happening there. What will happen, suppose anode is consumed, in that case they will not get this value, so they will dig that and provide another anode at the same place. So for pipeline it is very common, from 1930 it has started, and it is a very common roundabout. I'll say that in India more than 100 companies are there doing this work. Now this is the anode for RCC. These are known as button type anodes, this discrete anode. So what is done, it is placed in concrete at the time of rehabilitation or repairing, and one terminal wire is connected to the reinforcement. Now this is one part. Another part is that the concrete portion which acts as electrolyte. So one complete circuit is made. Whatever electrons are released by reinforcement, that are consumed by these electrons. Here monitoring is not possible. It is just like that you take one paracetamol tablet. You are not doing that what is happening inside the body. Once again, when you feel that no, there is some problem, again you take another medicine. So after some time, again if cracks are developing, they inspect, they open the place, then again other anodes are placed. In ribbon type anodes, this is placed parallel to reinforcement but not touching to the reinforcement. Please remember, this will not touch, okay? At the end, it will be connected to the reinforcement. So whatever reinforcement are there total, that will be taken care by these ribbon anodes, and the distance between this anode and reinforcement, whatever concrete is there, that will act as electrolyte, that will allow flow of electrons. This is mesh type anode. Here also you clean the surface on the concrete surface. In some cases cover is to be removed, then you have to provide concrete there, okay, and then you provide a mesh, provide hooks attached with the concrete surface, and then on that plaster is done. This is here also monitoring is not possible. Whenever some problem is there, you remove that, open that, and then you will come to know that what has happened. Another type of anodes for cathodic protection, this is generally used for RCCR, that in a structural part you drill a hole and provide this anode, okay? That zinc part, whatever white portion is there in first figure, that will take care of the corrosion protection. Here this initial part touches the reinforcement, the rest of the part will not touch. So one side it is connected, another side the concrete will act as electrolyte. This is ceramic anode also. In this case also a drill is made with some backfill, it is inserted, and then locking arrangement is there. So it goes inside. Here also monitoring system is not there, only they measure that, okay, what is the potential difference of this anode with respect to copper sulfate, half cell potentiometer, and accordingly they decide that okay, it is working or it is totally consumed. Here in this case, see, the name is sacrificial, means the metal will be consumed. Now this is the magnesium anode with backfill. Whatever you have seen similar to that pipeline, this is the anode that are placed in case of tanks and all that. Now see, this technology is very common for oil industries, because in case of storage tank also they provide anode at bottom of tank, on sides also, everywhere they provide. Then only it is possible that a steel tank which is housing, I'll say that, lakhs of liters of fuel, that is safe. Okay. And this is the second figure is showing the detail of that. Now from here the actual work starts, that how to make this technology a common for common public. Now here I have tried to develop a sacrificial surface node for CP of RCC structures, especially for buildings. Okay, this can be used for any type of structure, but wherever, suppose for jetty, saline water is available, so no other technology is required. The saline water itself is electrolyte. We can use directly cathodic protection system. Wherever that is not possible, for that this system is developed. See, the cathodic protection system is well established for metallic and other structures, but a simplified system is required to be developed for RCC structures. Simplified system, okay? The existing sacrificial anode cathodic protection system, that is SACP systems, are either internal in terms of discrete anode, ribbon anode, or external mesh anode or PRAO anode, in which direct monitoring of anode is not possible or feasible. See, the reason is that when you are not doing monitoring, how will you convince the public that this is working? It is just like the black box technology that you are saying that okay, I have put inside anode and this will safeguard the steel. So there is a need to develop a cathodic protection system for existing buildings, which is external, easy installation and replacement, facilitates monitoring, causing no loss in aesthetic appearance of structures, reliable and economical. if these objectives are achieved, then only this will become popular. Otherwise, nobody will bother that. So I developed one first stage sacrificial surface node. The purpose was that I wanted a type of anode which can be put on surface. No drilling, because the damaged structure or deteriorated structures, it is very risky to drill the holes for putting inside the anode, or even chiseling the cover concrete is also dangerous. So I wanted that, okay, at this stage the building is there or structure is there, I will provide everything externally so that now onwards corrosion is not there, so it will remain in as condition as it is today. So after success of stage 1, the modified design of stage 2 sacrificial surface node was developed. In previous one, the clamping facility was not there to clamp on the surface. Here the PVC pipe is used, which was used for drainage purpose, and in that anode is placed with backfill material, and this half portion is cut so that it remains in contact with the, see, one cord type cut section was used so that it remains in contact of the concrete surface. Okay, and backfill of gypsum and bentonite is used. Both ends are sealed with the wax, temporary, because at that time other things were not there. This was made for testing only. Now this is the actual anode, and this is installed in a building, multi-story building, Sunstar apartment. The result you can see after 2 to 3 months, this was the condition. And not only that, this is the condition, okay, what was happening inside, that was recorded by Hioki Japanese data logger, and the results of that are here. See, this is the potential difference measured in the circuit between anode and reinforcement. And here in this right side figure, it is not seen that where it is connected, but in other figures it is seen. So whatever you see, this vertical line, one day it was tested that, okay, this is dropping. Suppose the owner is not there, they are not using the washrooms, so obviously the concrete will start drying. So this drop is there. Okay, drop in potential difference is there due to drying of the concrete slab. So I sprinkled water, and after 2 hours this vertical line got, as soon as the moisture reached to the steel surface, steel reinforcement, the sudden rise was there. So obviously this says that, okay, moisture is one of the important thing for working of this anode. Now this is stage 3. Now here if you see that this is one polycarbonate box used as junction box for electrical work. So here cover is removed from that. So obviously whatever holes at 4 corners are there, that holes will be used to fix the anode on the concrete surface. And this is thick cotton cloth similar to the used in water purifier system. In that bentonite and gypsum is mixed, and in that the zinc anode, it is pure zinc 99.9%, that is placed with the wire connection. And at the bottom here you see this is PVC flexible sheet 8 mm thick, because whenever corrosion of this will take place, the volume expansion will be there. So to accommodate that volume, PVC flexible sheet is there, and this sheet provides a pressure so that this surface remains always in contact with the concrete surface. So for that purpose this PVC sheet was provided. Now this was visible from the volume expansion was one of the problem in the stage 2. So to accommodate this volume expansion of anode material, this sheet is provided. You can see this is the volume expansion of the previous sample, whatever you have seen. This is after corrosion. Okay, this bulging of anode. So that thing was to be taken care, so that PVC sheet is provided. Now how the working of SSA is there? See, this zinc anode is fixed on the concrete surface in the vicinity of reinforcement. Obviously we know that in the column where reinforcement is there, in the slab also it is equi-spaced, so there is no problem. In beam at the bottom we can fix. So almost just like astrologer, we know that where reinforcement is there. So we fix it at this place. Okay, from here electrons are released. Okay, this movement of electron is there, and then this is deposited on this anode material. This is at higher potential value, so current will flow from reinforcement to anode, and in the reverse direction electron will flow. Only thing, when you flow in circuit here with the conductivity of concrete, it will move again here, and oxidation of anode material will be there. Whatever is less noble material, that will go for oxidation. Only thing that our circuit should be complete. So here this concrete cover provides or acts as electrolyte. So wherever, only thing that the benefit of this technology is there, our all reinforcements are connected. Wherever electrons are released, that will move through the reinforcement. This will cross this, and here it will reach to the anode. So only thing, that flow of this electrons shall be facilitated. Now in case of columns, we can use that at the top. You can take out cover of two reinforcements. Okay, check that connectivity of two reinforcement between each other, so that you know that okay, these reinforcements are connected to each other. With the help of lateral ties, electricity is continued. From one terminal is connected at top, then this terminal is joined to the data logger. Again from data logger one terminal is taken, and that is connected to sacrificial surface anode. Now this is one part of the circuit. Another part is the reinforcement itself. Another part is, so complete circuit is there. So wherever corrosion occurs, electron has to flow through the reinforcement, and then it will be consumed by this sacrificial anode. So only problem was that whether this will work or not. This was the condition. I have tested this, and current is flowing, voltage is, potential difference is maintained, everything is there. So this is working. This is one of the reliability of this system, that we are fixing it on surface and still it is working. This is the building in which round about 8 anodes are installed on the periphery. The bottom, I'll say, in the parking area. Now this has undergone repairing. You can see that these two columns are erected later on. Please remember, this wall column and this column, this was not there, and this landing was in dangerous condition. So these beams are provided extra. This one, this beam plus this, and here also one beam is there, and this column is erected separately, and then condition is such that it is a part of building itself. So on the periphery of this first floor, anodes are installed for study purpose. Now see, you can see here, that is point number 1. At the time of repairing, wires were tied to the reinforcement. Similarly, 8 points are there. These are wires, and later on it is repaired and plaster is there, and the wires are checked for conductivity, and these wires are tested with respect to half cell potentiometer of copper and copper sulfate, and potential difference is checked. Where this is useful, that I'll show you. And this 2A, 2B points are that 2A is where the anode is there. This is 2 number point, and 2B is where reinforcement is taken. Okay, these other wires are for building. Only the wires connected to this are the wires required for anode. So this type of nomenclature is there, 2A and 2B. 2B is the anode point, 2B is the reinforcement point. So it is connected. Now this is the anode attached, and you can see here that this is 0.6842 is the potential difference in the circuit, We are not providing any battery or anything not there. This is the current flow due to anodic and cathodic process. And 0.0848, this is in terms of milliampere, so you can say 48 microampere. This is actually 16 channel data logger. First 8 channels are potential difference and last 8, that is 9 to 16, are for current flow. Now this makes sure that whatever current is generated due to corrosion, that is recorded here. Okay. Now look into this technology, innovative technology, because in any research paper, many catalog of companies all are talking about the inside anode of conventional type. Only thing is that whatever conventional is available, manufacture that, sell that, make a money. This is the criteria. So I applied for patent. You see here that I applied for civil engineering. At the first stage it was sent to metallurgy engineering, and now when I have taken new print, it is in chemical. So field of invention is changing. The reason is that this requires knowledge of electrochemistry, metallurgy, that what metals can be used, and application, that how it can be used to RCC structures. So still it is in the process of waiting for examination. I have paid the money for all in 2018 only. Request for examination I have made in October 2018, but still it is pending. Departments are changing from civil to metallurgy, metallurgy to chemical. But there is one provision that they can call experts of other field. The system of patent is that they can call experts from other fields. They have registered panel. So from that panelists they call and they ask about this patent examination. But still it is pending. Now there is one patent similar to that, that is Canadian patent number CA 2741304C. In this, if you see that first chipping of this loose concrete is done, whatever is damaged. In my case, I do not allow that, go for chipping, because it again weakens the structure. Then a bigger hole is made to put the anode. So obviously you are making a hole, suppose this is column. So this much concrete is removed, then holes are made. So that may be dangerous in some cases. In this hole, anode with backfill is inserted, and that anode is connected with metallic conductor to the reinforcement, and then again this is covered with concrete. Okay, then again this is covered with concrete. Now here this terminal is connected to reinforcement. This anode terminal is connected to reinforcement. Now you cannot monitor this, only you are given a guarantee that now corrosion will not occur, because inside this, see, backfill solves two purposes. One is that it provides a surrounding volume for expansion of or corrosion of the anode metal, because volume of corrosion is always more. So here in this technology, in this patent, it is not possible to monitor that what is happening inside, whether anode is consumed fully or it is still there. Okay, it is not known. Again, on the surface, if crack appears, then you will come to know that okay, corrosion has started. So in my case, monitoring is always there. Now here if you see that 1A, 1B is there. 1 is the position of sacrificial surface node, 1B is the terminal taken from reinforcement. The distance is approximately 5 meters. Now here distance word is very complex thing. The reason is that I have taken shortest distance. I assume that if two points are connected with the same cross section of wire, one length is 5 meters, another is 50 meters, so current will maximum flow depending upon the resistance of two wires with the shortest path. So here also this is going to happen. Suppose I am using in slab So in slab number of bars are there, they are connected by distribution steel. So current can flow in any direction, but obviously the shortest path will have maximum current. So for that is given, but it is very complex thing to define that what is the effect of this system. Now if you see there, see this value, this is the half cell potential of the steel by copper sulfate portable potentiometer. Now this is very dangerous. I have had photographs of the building in which almost 80%, 70% corrosion was there. Okay, somewhere diameters 12 mm bars were nowhere there. I have seen that case. So here it is minus 0.520 volt, that is 520 millivolt, 530 millivolt, 495 millivolt. You see that all values are above 460. So how much dangerous is there, you will come to know in next slide. Okay, here visible seepage was there in 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, visible seepage along with water drops are there. There it was connected. Okay, now see how much dangerous it is. That surface potential relative to copper sulfate reference electrode in millivolt. Chances of underlying steel corroding actively, whatever steel is inside that is actively corroding in terms of percentage chances. If it is less than minus 200, 5%. If it is minus 200 to minus 350 millivolt, it is 50% chance, and minus 350 it is 95% chance. So that's why I was saying that I have seen physically that reinforcement was missing at some places. Okay, the reason is that 100% loss of metal was there because all values are more than 450, minus 450 millivolt. Okay, so this was the condition, and that's why I got very fast result. Otherwise it is very difficult to get result in case of corrosion process in actual practice. If you are going for accelerated corrosion in laboratory, it is very simple because metal is well defined, anode is well defined, your electrolyte is well defined. Okay, you can go for a accelerated corrosion. Now this is pattern of potential difference and current of sacrificial surface anode at points 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 1 is not connected, so that's why this value is not there. Now this is not in terms of value, this is in terms of percent, because the software is such that it takes all values and then plots accordingly that. Okay, so this is not in terms of voltage, y-axis is not in terms of voltage. Okay, x gives the time. Similarly for current, all channels are taken, so this is also in terms of percentage. Okay. Now here if we see that potential difference and current measured between point A and 1A, 1B. 1A is the anode point, 1B is the terminal reinforcement taken from reinforcement. If you see this minus 0.312 volt difference is their potential difference. That is 312 millivolt. We are not providing anywhere some supply is still that much potential difference is created due to two metal potential. Please remember, two metal potential. And since corrosion is taking place, so here if you see that it is 0.0016 and here it is 0.0068, so you can say that approximately 0.003, okay, 0.003 microampere current is flowing, very less. Okay, there on the surface nothing was visible, but this much current is flowing. Okay, this is measured by the instrument itself. If you see this one, it is 2A and 2B where water drops were there. Potential difference is 0.6340 because due to moisture here resistance is less, so it is 0.634 volt, or you can say 600, almost 640 volt. This much potential difference is there and current flow is there. You can see that here it is 15 microampere. Okay, that much current is flowing between anode and cathode, means anode and reinforcement. This is for 0.2. Similarly, this is for 3A and 3B. Here also constant current is there, very less, but potential difference is there. Okay, that is facilitating the flow of electrons, and these electrons are consumed by anode, that is zinc metal. This is for point 8A and 8B. These 4 samples are taken. Now this is the application stage of this. At last, one anode was taken out, and this is the condition of zinc anode after 3 months. The surface has become rough. Okay, no loss of metal is there. It is only surface appearance. Previously it was the shining metal. This was the shining metal, then this is the condition. The fonts are smaller, but you can see from the picture the condition of zinc anode. Now, what various SSCP system I have explained, then what is the problem with that? See, probe type anode, this requires drilling always. Drilling of hole, and probe is inserted into concrete along with backfill. Monitoring through measurement of voltage and current is possible, but you can use in this case monitoring, but I don't know why monitoring is not provided by any company, which I have seen through its website. But there is possibility of cracking of concrete and again propagation of concrete when you are drilling that, because drilling requires at least 25 to 30 mm hole is required, or more than that, to place. You can imagine that if our column is 300 mm by 300 mm, already the condition of column is not good. If you are drilling in that, what may happen? Then in case of mesh and ribbon anode type, ribbon is placed inside, mesh is placed, and then it is covered with low resistivity mortar. So monitoring is not possible except from surface appearance and crack development. So this is one of the problem. Thermal sprayed surface coating. This is one of the technologies that you molten zinc. You spray the molten zinc just like you will see that GI corrugate sheets are there, that much. The technology is costly, monitoring is not possible, and appearance, surface appearance and crack development is the only monitoring method. In case of sacrificial anode, which I am proposing, this is to be fixed on surface with clamp without doing anything to the deteriorated structure, and monitoring is possible with data loggers and can be easily replaced. Replacement is easy because it is external on the surface. Now, what are the factors influencing the working of SSCP? That is, obviously, whatever the properties of concrete is there, that is going to affect, because we are dependent. This system is dependent upon the property of the concrete cover, that is concrete between sacrificial surface anode and reinforcement. So obviously all properties related to concrete are going to affect this. The same I have listed here. Okay, there is one interesting thing, that is temperature. Okay, during the day what happens to this? If you see this is on such a phase that on outside this parapet sunlight falls. So obviously heating of that concrete portion is there, inside a node is there. So here potential difference drops. This is the pattern of every day. Every day from morning 8 it starts, and then again it goes as again reaching to the same value. So this is the case where sunlight falls on the sunlight is falling on outside, because inside or everywhere the anode is fitted on the inside surface, but the thickness is 5 to 6 inches and outside sunlight falls, so that reduces the conductivity of concrete due to loss of moisture. Then what are the reasons that CP is not common for RCC buildings in India? In foreign it has been tried, but there also it is not common. The reason is that cost of buildings are considered as very less compared to the cost of bridges, cooling towers and other important RCC structures. See, this is the older concept. Nowadays, if you go to purchase any flat in Bombay, you will find that the cost of flat is 10 crores rupees. In Surat, even you will find that flat cost is costly buildings are there, so that flat cost is 1.5 to 3 crores rupees. So suppose 50 flats are there, you can imagine that it is nearly equal to a small bridge nowadays. Okay, so that was older concept. And second thing, the feasibility, other reasons are there that why it cannot be, it is not common to buildings. Second reason is that in one building there may be multiple ownership, so decision making is difficult whether to go for this technique or not. Okay. And second thing, if you are going for this technique, whether in the market, just like you know that so many people are there for rehabilitation technique, probably everybody is knowing that now everybody is expert in crack filling. They go for white cement and SBR chemical, make a V group and then go for filling the crack. Everybody is becoming expert in that. So whether for this technology experts are there? No, probably very less numbers of experts are there. Second is the general perception of public that if repaired or rehabilitate the structure element remains good for very long period. This is the concept of public that we have gone for repairing, it will remain good for very long period. So this concept is wrong actually. I have seen in many buildings after 5 years. After 5 years, it develops again cracks and other things. Second, another point I have come across, the technology is considered as too costly. When I contacted many of the companies, whatever their rates are there, even for zinc, which is available in market, okay, at the cost of 800 rupees kg. A small zinc anode they were giving in 1200 to 1500 rupees. It is nothing, it is simple metal having some holes at two ends. And the cathodic protection technologies are like monopoly item in the hands of very few companies. When I came across 2-3 companies, then I thought that no, whatever they are saying, that is due to monopoly, and they have got lot of work in oil industry. So they are not interested for buildings because everybody wants fast money. So why to go for to convince the people that okay, this is there. And obviously whatever I am saying, sacrificial surface anode, that technology is also not there. I have seen many of the research paper catalogs of many companies. So probably that one may be the problematic, that nobody takes risk to drill the holes, put anode inside the dam, and probably the owner will not allow for further deterioration. Okay. Now this is the fact which is mentioned in ISO 12696. Cathodic protection of steel in concrete is a specialist multidisciplinary activity. Expertise is required in the fields of electrochemistry, concrete technology, civil and or structural engineering, and cathodic protection engineering. This is the statement in ISO 12696. Okay. So probably this is one of the major reason that if someone, we are not getting consultant in the market for this technology for using in RCC buildings. Okay. So now I will summarize the things which I have explained. The sacrificial surface node works effectively when installed on the surface of concrete adjacent to reinforcement. We want shortest path to be traveled by electrons. So obviously put at the near the surface, means at the location where just behind the bars are there, behind the cover. Second, the difference of half cell potential of anode and cathode is less in closed circuit than open circuit due to resistance of concrete and steel. If you measure the half cell potential of anode separately and reinforcement separately, then you get different value. When you connect that, so it is less. When multiple anodes are installed, there is distribution of current among all anodes, because you know that suppose you consider one floor, all reinforcement are connected to each other with binding wire with contact. So obviously every reinforcement allows the flow of electrons. So there is distribution or shortest path followed by this. So you cannot say that electrons generated here will flow to a particular node. Okay, anywhere it can go. The conductivity of concrete plays an important role in the working of sacrificial surface node. Obviously, this is the basic thing that conductivity is required. The location for installation of such anodes are possibly only by investigation, not by any standard procedure. Many of the people ask me that whether there can be a program that if I feed it in that it can give the strategic locations for installing anodes. No, it is not possible. Every mapping is to be done, reinforcement mapping at every place. Then with respect to half cell potential, that will give the condition of reinforcement. On that basis, you have to decide the location of anodes. Okay. And obviously, this is one concept, the most negative value wherever is there, you first protect that and then go for other places. This method of CP is different than all other CP, hence patent is applied. Obviously, I have shown the slide that it is published. Till date, no opposition to this patent is registered with Indian Patent Office. I am getting mails from consultant, but no mail is there that it is violation of their patent or like that. Okay. Thank you. I hope that I actually showing the fact. You may be disappointed that after so much good concrete, why this is happening, but this is happening and this is fact. This real fact you have to accept, and you are the protector of this and their society, and accordingly you protect our structures because this is national loss. You don't think that the owner of this building or owner of this structure is someone else. It is from the money earned by citizens. By any method it is coming to you, that is different thing. Okay. Now, if any question you have, you can ask.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Pariksa. Yes.
Yes, sir. Wait a minute.
I am not getting voice. Hello. Some echo sound is there. Hello, my voice is there. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
Okay. Any question is there? Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
it was indeed a very good session. Thank you, sir. Let me check if any question, contestant has asked the question. The contestants are thanking you for the excellent session.
Thank you.
I'll ask again the contestant. If any contestant is having any question, they can ask in the chat box and in our Telegram group so that we can ask the sir. If any question, you can ask. Let us wait for 1 minute, sir. We'll go further. Yes, sir. There is a question from a contestant. They asked that how to decide cathodic current flow rate for corrosion protection.
See, cathodic current flow will depend upon the condition of the concrete. If pH is very, very less compared to, suppose I say that pH is 8. So obviously at that time, corrosion will be fast, more electrons will be released, and that will determine the amount of current. The concrete quality will decide. Concrete quality will decide. Its pH value will decide the magnitude of current.
Hello.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to thank you from the team, FPP and all the participants for the excellent session. We are getting many appreciation in our Telegram group as well as in this chat box. Sir, it was indeed very nice presentation and it was very informative too. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will interrupt one moment. Okay, please continue me. See, many people may be interested that now, if I am saying that economical, what is the cost? The cost of one piece to manufacture, okay, without any surcharge is 1000 rupees. Okay, one anode. Okay, then installation costs etc. It can go up to 3 lakhs rupees total, 3 to 4 lakhs rupees. So 4 lakh rupees for indefinite life of a structure is nothing. Okay, this is my prediction that within 4 to 5 lakhs rupees it will work, the whole system. Okay.
Sir, one of the contestant has asked the question just now. Is cathodic protection useful in pile corrosion protection?
Pile. Hello.
Is that the question I'm repeating?
Yes.
Is
Yes. Pile. See pile. Yes. Okay. Please listen. For piles and foundations, it is useful. Only thing that you have to take a terminal in from the reinforcement of the column. From there you take the out the wire, come to the bottom place, and at some distance 1 or 2 meter you place that backfilled anode. So conductivity of soil will provide the current flow, and on one side you have connected to the reinforcement. So if it is concrete pile or steel pile, only connectivity is required. On one end, on the top end, it shall be connected with wire, and at the bottom these two are connected with conductive property of soil. So it can be used for foundations. I am going to try this for foundation in the next 2 months only in new building. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Zora, you can continue now.
Excuse me, sir, there is one question.
Yes.
Uh, anyway, we need to do repair work for this reason other than the corrosion, hence feels that there may be additional expenses.
See, one thing is there. It is one part that if it is badly damaged, then you have to go for repair and then you can go for cathodic protection. If it is badly damaged, you cannot leave that part, because with respect to aesthetic consideration also, cracked column cannot be left as it is. Okay. There is no problem. If moisture enters, then also the CP system will work. Okay, efficiently. But that cracked parts we never want. We have to repair that. Okay, and then CP can be applied to that.
Sir, for your stimulating speech, we are grateful. We are grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts and experience with us. Thank you.
Thanks to all of you, your team, for providing me this opportunity and comfortable opportunity to speak. And today I felt that there was no interruption due to network failure. I'm lucky for that. Okay, thank to all of you. Okay, and thanks to
Thank you
Dr.
so much,
Parikh
sir.
and Dr. Khare.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Parikh sir.
Sorry, sir, because as I was busy with the NBA task as a NBA.
No, I know that I was also getting phone calls. Okay, but I have not attended.
Actually, I have to go outside, come
Yes.
inside. So lots of work is going on, parallel activity.
Yes,
So
I
kindly
understand.
bear me.
No, it is very crucial month, September, for us.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Exactly right, sir.
Okay. And thank you, Parikh sir.
Sir, hold on. One question is there.
Yes.
Whether we can use this to damage structure?
Yes, this is for damaged structure. Only one thing is there. Suppose somewhere spalling of concrete is there. Okay. So that is to be repaired, because with respect to aesthetic and building confidence among the residents, okay, or owners, that part is to be repaired, and then CP can be applied. Okay. There is no problem with that. Okay. It will work.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So thank you very much for the cooperation. That was a nice session for us. It's a new knowledge which has been gained to by the participant, and also including for our faculty members as well as for the volunteers also, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Dr. Parikh and your team. Okay. Give my thanks to Dr. Khare and your principal, sir. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.
All the participants requested that the next session will be started at 3:30. So we will join approximately at 3:20. So take your own time, and the same link will be there. The link will be valid for all the times today is concerned. About the tomorrow is concerned, we will generate a new link and we will send you through Telegram also. Regarding the quiz is concerned, there are certain faculty members has given lesser response. So the link is open right now also for the quiz number 1 and 2. So those who are remaining, kindly put your effort in that case. We are flexible in that case. Thank you very much.